seeing it on the official Twitch thing.
Oh, is it on the Twitch now?
All right, it's live. It's live.
We're good. We're just a little bit behind.
Yeah, do the
Is
intro.
it on the Twitch now?
All right, it's live. It's
You're gonna
live.
have to
It's
turn
good.
your audio down as well, though, because I'm picking up a little bit of your feedback.
Live, it's
You're gonna
live.
have to turn your audio down.
This is going swell already.
Feedback. You need to turn the audio for your Twitch off because it's being picked up by the stream, so it's just like constantly gonna fold over and over on itself.
I just have to exit the stream then.
You
Okay.
should go out of it because we're gonna end up with like just trapped in a paradox. So, I am
That's fitting. What they're going to be
Phantom.
discussing.
I am Phantom, writer for the Honor Bound Obsidian Spectres and the Frostwalkers, and I am joined here today with Max, the writer of the Sons of the Mist. He's been with us before.
Hi, I've been here before.
You
yes,
have.
yes.
And today we are going to be discussing the 5th Legion, the Sons of the Mist, and their Primarch Raziel Lamb.
Oh boy, you ready for the edgiest boy this side of the block, fellas?
The Vape Lord himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, give us a rundown of the 5th Legion then, Max. Talk to me.
Well, you basically all right. So they are, as you can tell by the name, they're the Sons of the Mist, and one of their specialties is sensory deprivation warfare. And basically, they're the arch heretics of this entire AU. They're among the first to fall, but they don't exactly fall to chaos now, do they, Phantom?
A specific breed of chaos they are, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
We'll get into that later. So in regards to their the Legion, then the sensory deprivation. So a form of covert operations. They were one of the 2 legions that we had kind of specialize in stealth.
Alright.
The Sons of the Mist and the Obsidian Spectres. The Spectres went through a traditional route, and your Legion took a very different path.
Yeah.
So
Shall we start there then? I think that's perfect.
I think that's where we should get going then. So
Yeah.
if we're talking then the Legion, the birth of the Legion, let's get into that.
All right. So, as most legions are, they're born on Terra. They're the 5th Legion. So they are among the first of the legions to come up. So they took a bit of a part in the later stages of the Unification Wars, didn't they, Phantom?
They did, yes. So we're talking 774. They were deployed along with the first wave of 5 legions. So the Honor Bound, what would become the Shadow Angels and the Death Lords, as well as the Dust Basilisks. They were deployed then, and then after the Purge of the Thunder Warriors in 786, a man by the name of Viho Grydak was named the Legion Master for the 5th Legion.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right. The 5th Legion basically did their shit. They were pretty good at it. They're like, hey, I like this, and they did it.
What was their speciality though during the Unification Wars? What did they go about? How did they go about things?
Good. They were really good at information and stealth. Basically, they were the original covert legion before those hussies in the 9th Legion were around.
And they had a moniker as well, I believe.
Oh, did we? Oh yeah, the Ashen Watchers. Yeah.
The Ashen Watchers.
The Ashen Watchers, which basically how that came about was, they did an amazing assassination attempt under the shadow of an active volcano on Terra.
And so they gained the name, the Ashen Watchers.
Yeah, they gained that name. It was a notable one, and we'll probably have to expand upon it later, because I think that's actually, once we have the entire thing filled out, that's a pretty good, interesting thing to fill out.
So, the Unification Wars ended. The legions were dispatched across the stars. For the early Great Crusade, they still were doing pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, they were doing pretty well. I mean, they were doing well. They had a job to do, and as the Primarchs came rolling in, they were still doing their job until that bitch Belia. God, fuck her. God damn.
So I think for the first couple of years of the Crusade, everything was going quite well. We've got a good number of decades that we have. I'm seeing on the timeline here that they just
Oh, yeah,
were
send me
doing
the
their
title.
job properly. I'll
Yeah.
drop you the link.
Drop me the link. All right.
Look.
Oh,
So yeah, for the first couple of decades, they were doing pretty well. I'd say probably within
yeah, we haven't
within
figured everything out, but
within the
we have
third decade of the Crusade, Belia was discovered by Hyzo, and it wasn't long after that that Belia started reformatting her legion, which
yeah,
had
yes,
basically
Belia-
grown in the Fifth Shadow up
yeah,
until
the
that
fifth
point.
basically they were really good, right? They weren't shit at their original purpose, and that's something we like to emphasize. They weren't shit. It's just that they're not Primarch level.
Hmm.
They aren't going to compare ever to a legion run by a Primarch, while they have none themselves. And so they fell to the wayside, and they've just they were good at their job. But if you had a choice between the new 9th Legion with their Primarch or the 5th, you have to go with the 9th because the 9th just did it better. They were just outshining the 5th. And so the 5th were like, okay, fine, that's okay, that happens. We're going to find our new role in life. And basically the 5th didn't have any resentment towards 9th because fuck it, that's how it goes. You know? And then everything started going to shit. Like it always does.
They kept trying to find their new
They tried
style.
to find their purpose in life, basically. And
They were trying to find a new style of combat to do things, and it just didn't end up going very well for them.
we have going with the Brass Mechanicus, trying out something like that, getting fucked, and just
it's
Ugh.
yeah. They were trying very hard to just try and find their own style, and by doing that, they were trying to emulate how other legions did things.
They basically a lot of joint operations was a joint operation with the Legion. They tried to copy them. They tried to try to remake themselves, but it never worked, and they always ended up suffering heavy losses. And as I previously mentioned, a result of this was Invidium the Sorrowful, who came about from a cooperation campaign with the Brass Mechanicus. And he is a shitlord of a dreadnought who absolutely hates his existence, and we'll get into him later when it's more appropriate.
The gist of how the Legion ended up changing. You've got all of these legions who are seeing the 5th have basically been kicked out of their position. They've been dethroned. They're trying their best to discover their style, and they keep getting shafted in every operation that they go into for the most part. So these legions that are accompanying them, they are gifting them with relics and with weapons and things that they hope might things just to compensate them for their efforts.
It's like, okay, you took a lot of losses. Here you go, and some of them were more than others. So we haven't decided yet. And as one of the ones we have mentioned was Invidium the Sorrowful.
Invidium was a dreadnought that had the chassis was donated by the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Invidium absolutely, as I said, hates his existence because it's a reminder of his Legion's failure.
And I think eventually, as the decades went on, the 5th just ended up becoming more and more bitter towards
the 9th, because it's like
not just towards the 9th, just to all the other legions that were basically just taking pity on them.
Yeah, and it's like the Legion has no real trophies for themselves.
Everything that they have has just been given to them by other legions.
Nothing was earned. Everything was given, and they didn't like that. They didn't like the Pitygus. They were salty.
And this continued for a very long amount of time because I think
Raziel's among the last to be found.
Definitely. I'm looking at the chart now. It's easily Raziel is found easily a century after Belia is.
Yeah, it's basically Raziel is like the late fucking bloomer in life.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk.
His world is.
Yeah, let's talk Levistra then.
Mm-hmm. All right, Levistra is there is a lot of inspirations for it. Lovecraft, The Mist, movie, the book. I haven't read the book. I need to read the book. But it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different stuff.
In short, Levistra is a world that is just covered in this ethereal, impenetrable mist.
And and this mist, at some point in its far past, was once a shroud, like a defensive shroud that kept the planet's activities hidden, which were basically sight warp related shit during the Dark Age technology, when warp knowledge was relatively little. And it basically shrouded their operations from people off world, except for one little spire that poked up from the very center of the main facility.
But when it all eventually went to shit, as everything did in the Dark Age of technology, with all these psychers being present during like the age of Strife, the birth of Slaanesh, just everything going on.
Everything goes to shit, and
warp entities were running wild on the planet. The nature of the creatures themselves were just permeating through the world.
To be specific, that facility, which Stalvin basically was called, it bases Stalvang.
How do we pronounce it?
How do we pronounce shit?
We were sitting there and we were like thinking, oh, this is a really interesting name that we got going on here. It's an anagram. It totally makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, it's basically it's Stalvin, however the fuck you want to pronounce it.
Stalvin, I think it was called.
Stalvin, that is it. Oh, yeah, Stalvin was.
You know what? You know why I didn't. You know why we didn't like pronounce it that way, because I can't get it on my keyboard to do the little line above the E.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's what I was. I can't get my keyboard to do it. That's why we keep missing out.
Yeah, Stalvin was basically the center, the focal point. And when everything went to shit, the Psychers went to shit, and that opened a warp bridge right in the middle of it. And that's where the Stalvin was the center point. Well, was it Stalvin? No, that's the fucking world.
Stalvin was the world.
Well, no. We never named it Stalvin because it didn't have a name, because it was like a top secret research world. Right?
No. I think we called it. It was the planet was called Stalvin. The area that we had, the area that was like the epicenter, whatever name that place had, it became known to the people like generations after as the Nefastus, because in that location, the connection between the Materium and the Immaterium was very weak.
Yeah, like basically once everything started settling down and like the mist was like forever effective, it basically became this amalgamation of technology and warp craft that fucked with the planet basically. And
the warp permeated, because I think what did we call it? It was a tropospheric shroud. So it was supposed to be a cloud layer that was not genetically. It was genetically engineered clouds. My God.
Oh my God.
So it was a cloud layer that was created specifically to shroud the planet, but because of with the outbreak of the warp, instead of just being a cloud layer that surrounded the planet, the entire surface of the planet was also covered in this mist. And also, it was also corrupted, I want to say, by the warp to a certain level. So the mist is kind of like almost etheric in nature. It blocks light, it blocks sound, it deprives you of your senses.
It used to be basically normal fucking clouds, right? And now it's something completely different, and something that. Maybe we don't know. We would truly know, because we want to keep that mystery. We don't truly know.
It's quite unnatural, though. I think in all the talking that we've done about it, it is just something very primal and unnatural.
We've kept a lot of things vague about it. We don't exactly go in
close to the chest. Yeah,
because maybe we don't want to know. because that's one of the things with about the
Well,
mist.
one
And
of the
one of
things
the,
I do want to know, though, what becomes of the individuals who were living on Stalavin, or now Lavistra, as it is called?
over the years, over the centuries, over the
Hmm.
millennia, it changed. Obviously, they became nomads because you couldn't really settle in the mist too much. You could, but it's not worth it. The creatures on the planet became mutants, warp
Hmm.
things, and a lot of the things on the planet became more prey. I don't know, less sight sense and more smell, sound, and all that, and sometimes a bit of warp fuckery because warp fuckery is always fun. It's child dentist approved, guys. 9 out of 10 dentists recommend warp fuckery. That was a force show.
But there were
Well,
there were
yeah.
there were dangers still present to these nomads because they're
Oh
wandering
yeah.
through the mist. There are not just
Oh,
like regular animals living in the mist. There are kind of like
there are no more
creatures.
regular. Yeah, the
There are
animals of
creatures
the
in the mist.
world became mutants. Basically, do you know what? And I would love to go into detail when my lazy ass gets to it on some of those creatures, but I have more things to worry about.
It's just it's
But
things that prey on the senses, definitely. So like you've got like,
mhm.
I think you were talking at one point about mimics. You wanted to have like
Yeah,
sound
mimics.
mimics, and
Yeah,
a bunch of other things like that. Like definitely, it's a very nightmarish place, and you have to be
you have to
fully
be
in
constantly on
control.
alert.
Yeah.
And one of the ways the people of the world kept alert was by a certain class of sighters called the Wayfarers, and they were unique to Levistrix a lot because of the slight warp permanence. Permanence, is that the right word? I'm gonna fucking use it. It sounds cool.
Hmm.
Because of the warp, a lot of the psychers became based around the mist, and sometimes it was manipulation, sometimes it was repelling, and a lot of wayfarers were repellers of the mist.
They could not only that, they could just kind of like they because the mist was this ethereal kind of like warp infused thing. They were able to kind of like chart safe paths through it.
Yeah, and they were basically, other than your chieftain, they were respected, but at the same time, since they were one of the downfalls of the planet, they were feared. They were required for living. Didn't mean they didn't like them.
It's a precious resource. They were treated
Precious.
as that.
Mm-hmm.
So
And they
while
were.
we've got the clans explained now, let's talk about Raziel.
Oh boy, Raziel is an interesting lad.
So
Uh,
let's start with his beginnings. How did he come to be? How did he come to arrive on Lavestra?
well, basically, like every other Primarch, he fucking crashed, bro. He got yeeted out of the Emperor, out of the Emperor. Yes, that's technically how it goes, right? Uh,
We're not paying attention to any of the new lore here. It was definitely the Emperor
oh,
and nobody else.
obviously,
Nobody else.
It couldn't be the Chaos Gods. Goddamn.
But from
That
from what we've got written, he was deposited on the Vistra, but the Nephastus itself acted like a magnet for
yes,
his
it's
gestation
basic.
capsule.
The around the fastest, the warp is thinner. It is, and as you go deeper and deeper into it, it's basically you're entering a realm no longer reality, but neither the warp either. It's a strange middle ground, and that's where my Primarch ended up straight dab into the center, and because I have no subtlety whatsoever.
So,
And
so your Prime Bark was raised in hell. That's nice.
yeah,
That's real nice.
how he spent a lot of his fucking life. Yeah, no. If you want to be technical, it's purgatory.
Yeah. Okay.
He was raised in Silent Hill, basically.
I'll settle for that. I'm happy with that. So it's unknown how long he was in there for, The first human interaction with Raziel was when a tribe of wanderers was driven close to the borders of the Nephastus by creatures of the mist, and they were cornered, but also at the same time they were disorientated and dispatched by this 14-year-old boy who
seemingly 14-year-old
seemingly I say 14 years old, but like that's how old he looked. And he was basically just a young man, barely 14 years of age, clad in rags, with the mutilated hides of Levistran mist beasts basically being worn as clothing. So they were just saved by this savage, weird child.
We didn't go into much detail about it because I don't think it's required. It's like, keep it mysterious. We don't know what he experienced in there, and even if he's a
we know what he experienced in there, but we're not going to talk about it right now. We're not going to talk.
I thought no, that was later in his life, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it though. We know what happened. We're not telling it.
I said hello to the chat, guys. So, but yeah, I said hello, and now we're gonna say hello to the next part of Raziel's life.
So we are talking Raziel.
Yeah, okay. So we were he was discovered. So he was taken in by this clan. We got a name for this clan, and it's not the Ku Klux Klan because we're not cool like that.
It was if I remember correctly, it was the Zambria.
The Zambria.
What was that?
The
Zambra. Yeah, those people.
Those fuckers.
So Raziel was taken in by them. At the time, the child didn't have a name, so they gave him the name Raziel Ilam, which means child of mysteries.
Which I am putting in the Twitch chat because I am a cool dude and I like to interact with my audience.
So they left the Deadlands with him. And the Deadlands is the area surrounding the Nephastus. So they left the Deadlands and they returned into the Mist. I think the Zambra treated him.
Raziel basically became the greatest Mist Lord for the thing, and that basically led their greatest wayfarer for his tribe. And basically, they were really fucking good.
They were still scared of him.
Oh yeah,
they viewed him with suspicion and distrust, but that was, I think, to be truthful, you would be if like this kid just wandered out of like.
Girl, wait, where the fuck?
Wandered out of hell.
Yeah, I mean, if some kid wandered out of hell, would you trust him? No, I wouldn't. I fucking wouldn't.
So as this was happening, as he was growing, he basically still held like a connection to the Nephastus. It kind of called to him.
Oh yeah, it whispered, it talked, it said dirty things to him, which he didn't like.
Whispered sweet nothings into his ear.
He didn't. He told Nephastus he was taken, but Nephastus didn't care. She was a nice girl.
But yeah, I think he would have it. It would be haunted in his dreams. He would just hear it whisper to him when he would venture through the mist, and eventually, he just decided that he was going to return. He was older, he was wiser, and he needed to find out.
Wiser, loosest of terms.
Yeah, he needed to discover more truths.
More truths.
So he ventured forth beyond the Deadlands, and he re-entered the Nephastus. All I ever wanted was the truth. How long he spent in there, we don't actually know. But what we do know,
it's about reality. In reality, it was, I do believe, a few decades.
It was, easily a few decades he was in there, so he left basically everyone behind. Yeah,
where were we?
I know I lost my place there as well. In the time it took for Raziel to be inside the Nephastus, Levistra was discovered and kind of instead of being brought into compliance, it was found by a force of the Ninth Legion.
Yeah, and Raziel didn't even basically. The Ninth Legion came in and you're like, hey, this is a pretty neato planet. Let's fucking use it for training purposes. And they took it. And for I think 50 years, it was like that, basically.
It was about probably a good 20 to 30 years they were using Levistra as training grounds for aspirants. They set up a few outposts and garrisons, and they led hunting expeditions for the monsters. Because again, that was something that the Ninth Legion did do. They wouldn't just outright claim they wouldn't outright claim worlds for the Imperium. They would just kind of if they found something that they could use for themselves, they would. So Levistra was one of the unfortunate kind of targets for that.
Yeah, and the Levistra basically came about, and it was the planet was discovered before the Primarch. It's infinitely hilarious to me, and you will never find out why. So
when Raziel finally did emerge from the Nefastus, he was a lot stronger. He was kind of his psychic powers had increased a lot as well.
Yeah, he also had his book. His nice little book he found in the spire, where originally the orbital spire for Nefastus for the research facility was. It's very tough, right? He discovered it and he took it for himself, and it was there. It was always there, or was it?
We'll come back to the book in a little bit.
But the book, basically, with the secrets from the book and from his own time spent in Nefastus, which again we don't fucking know. He could be the oldest of the Primarchs for all we know, or the absolute youngest.
But Raziel returned home to the Zambria tribe, and he found the territory just destroyed and the populace slaughtered, because the monsters of the mist had been driven out of their normal territories and their normal hunting spots by the Ninth. The Legion had kind of just riled up the ecosystem, and just I don't even think the Ninth particularly cared that there were human inhabitants on Levistra.
I imagine they wouldn't give a shit.
They didn't really. So Raziel, this dude who had basically been forgotten to absolutely everyone, just decided that he was going to unite all of the tribes on Levistra and funnel all of the creatures of the mist towards the Ninth. And it took several weeks for the Ninth to even realize that they were under attack. Eventually, their initiates and their recruits stopped coming back. The Spectres deployed reconnaissance units, and they never came back either.
I was gonna say probably because they didn't notice at first, because casualties happen, you know. Hunting is a dangerous fucking sport, especially in a world like Levistra. They didn't notice, and then the more veteran, the ones who should have came back, probably didn't come back, and they're like, okay, what the fuck?
And you're expecting a few aspirants to not come back, but if you send a group out and they just don't return.
If you sent your teacher and hardened veterans out and they don't fucking come back, you go, oh, okay, something's going on. Oh god, oh fuck. And the Ninth basically, once they started realizing something was hunting them down, they left the planet like the cowards they are, and never trust the Ninth Legion bitches, because they are.
Okay. No. I can understand you're bitter. So they realized that it was going to take they were a little bit more out of their depth. The Ninth just kind of scuppered their outposts, and they leaked.
They revealed the location of Levistra to the Imperium for the first time. Then someone close by, who is a fucking failure of a human being.
Whoa. So Celestia and the 17th Legion took the call, as the Ninth had basically reported. I know what you said, but nobody else does. So that's why I'm trying to explain it.
I was gonna explain it myself, but then you went, "Whoa!"
But the Ninth had said that the world was cursed and infested with strange creatures of the night, So Celestia saw it and was like, I'm gonna hit that.
Shit.
I'm gonna hit
I'm
that.
gonna hit that like I hit my fucking brothers.
Celestia was aware of what chaos was by that point. I think she understood it to be a corrupting force.
She understood.
I think she understood it existed.
She knew it existed. She didn't know everything about it.
She didn't know exactly what it was. So she basically
She heard a bunch of things that sounded like chaos shit, and she went in.
She heard that it had been cursed and infested with creatures of the night, so she was just like, okay, no, this sounds chaosy. We're gonna just smash this up.
There is no time for diplomacy, only kill.
Yeah, so she committed a full chapter to Levistra's compliance. I think well over 5,000 Astartes were committed to the world. I think it was something closer to 10. And
Definitely.
they spent months fighting with the Mistborn, and also with the mist beasts that Raziel was kind of like
doing a total purge of the planet, uprooting it, and they were not taking shit. But as the casualties mounted up, because Celestia figured, well, that's the people. Fuck, how the fuck are we taking Astartes casualties on a world like this? Probably. And B, she noticed a pattern to it. She realized that everything was a bit too organized, too much to be a mortal mind, like she was used to. So she figured at some point that it was probably one of her siblings, especially because of the reports coming in from her own legionaries of some big tall dude fucking everything up, being a little shit.
Yeah, Celestia put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. And so she set a trap for the Primarch.
Yeah, the 17th changed their stance from just destroying resistance to trying to capture their leadership. And during the Battle of the Hills That Murmur, the Celestial Legion identified the enemy commander, and Celestia surrounded the Primarch and attempted to achieve a diplomatic outcome.
Raziel wasn't having that shit. He's like, no, get the fuck off my world. And then they basically punched each other. And then Celestia, obviously being more experienced and beating up her siblings, of course.
Raziel was capable with he was a capable psyker, but like Celestia just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah. Like I said, she had experience in beating up her siblings.
Yeah, Raziel realized that if he did refuse the offer and he was beaten within an inch of his life, Levistra would fall under total Imperial rule, and so he made the choice to surrender and accept his position as a Primarch of the Imperium, so that Levistra would be under his governance.
Mm-hmm. He was beaten to a fucking pulp, basically.
This is not the first Primarch that Celestia's beaten to death.
Mm-hmm. Well, beaten to death. Holy shit, she's a necromancer. Wait, no, we already have.
You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean, but does the audience?
Right.
Three people who I'm pretty sure 2 of us are.
So right, we've got Levistra. So how did Levistra change under? How did Levistra begin to change after the Imperium came to it?
I don't think it changed too much. It did change.
I think he just kind of implemented some health and safety laws, and that was about it, really.
Yeah, he definitely made sanctuary cities. Oh boy, that's a fucking topic. But yeah, he basically did implement sanctuary cities. Shitty cities, yeah.
Yeah,
and
nice.
they basically, and lots of people didn't go for it. Some did, but they were basically, okay, here's a safe haven for you to have your children and shit. Here you go. And some went some there, but things didn't really change too much, other than the 5th Legion popping up.
And the 5th Legion did play. They were based from Levistra after that. Mm-hmm. So Raziel was taken to. Yeah, of course. And Raziel was taken to meet the Emperor. What did Raziel think of the Emperor?
Ooh. Oh, that's a difficult one because
We had that written down, didn't we?
I don't know. Maybe I think it was like a one-off mention.
I have what we wrote here, and let's see if you feel
Oh,
the same
neutral
of
on
it.
the Emperor.
Yeah, so he was
Yeah,
introduced to his legion.
no. The
Yeah,
Emperor Raphael was neutral on the Emperor because he admired his leader. I think it was leadership.
it was the leadership, yeah, and also like the vision that he had.
Vision, yeah, but at the same time, he got beat the fuck up. He was on the opposite end for once.
Yeah.
Of
So
yeah,
he basically, while the Emperor was talking a good game, Lavistra had basically been had the crap kicked out of it twice. The first time by the Ninth Legion, who just didn't even bring it into compliance properly, and the second time from the Celestial Legion, who just came on very heavy-handed.
basically, if the Ninth Legion were basically like a scalpel, the fucking Celestial Legion were like a gigantic fucking hammer the size of a skyscraper slamming down on a fucking ant colony.
So Lavistra got both ends of the stick then, really.
Yeah.
So Raziel, I suppose, then didn't.
He didn't. Oh yeah, he already had a bad impression.
But at the
Right,
same
he
time,
got-
he felt like he'd had an honest look at what the Imperium had the potential to be
From both ends.
from both ends. Because if you look at like a founding like Heizo, the Emperor came to Kostaland personally, and kind of like welcomed him with open arms, whereas Raziel was just kind of like beaten within an inch of his life, and then
space everything. Why do I taste the color purple? Wait, I'm okay.
but he was basically just beaten within an inch of his life, and then like thrown in a sack and taken to Terra. In comparison,
yeah, he got a very nasty bit of the Imperium, and that always stuck with him. And it carried with him, and it's one of the things he never truly, I suppose, connected with his siblings.
he had a fair bit of paranoia after that, I would say.
Yeah, paranoia before that, because paranoia is how you survive on a world like Lavistra.
True. Okay, so as we're talking Legion.
We're going into the Great Crusade.
We'll go Legion and Great Crusade. So how did the Legion immediately change after Raziel arrived? It's one of your it's one of your favorite bits, so I'll let you talk about it.
Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah, I need to read a bit more because read a bit more in Leech 3. Where the fuck is he? Okay. Yeah, basically when he and his Legion finally reunited, right? And the Legion's like, oh my god, finally we have Daddy. Holy shit, guys. And so obviously when you're showing off when you finally find your dad, you show him all the cool shit you gathered. And so they took him to the trophy hall. Right? The trophy bits. And they basically did a tour. Like, hey Dad, here's our trophies. And Raziel saw they didn't like these trophies. They were
a bit ashamed.
They were shamed, they were bitter, they despaired. And then as the thing concluded, in Raziel, as they reached the end of the trophy gathering, Raziel was like, something just goes up in him, flips the switch. And then, like any good father, he proceeds to destroy every fucking thing that they had earned. And then when he was done and he turned to their shocked faces, he declared no more. And after that, the Legion would find. No, it was okay. No. I'm a fucking liar. So it was after they were done with the fucking tour, Raziel declared no more, and then destroyed everything. He smashed it like people smash other people's mothers in online arguments, basically. So really fucking important. No. But yeah, he fucked. Oh, it is only two of us now. Oh, damn. But yeah, he fucked everything up. and he's basically after that he told his legion every relic they now earn would be on their own sweat, blood, and tears.
Yeah.
Basically.
But it was something that I think would be important for his legion as well. If you yourself are ashamed of like just having all of these different relics that were just they were just given as hand-me-downs from another legion, for your father to turn up, for your dad to turn up and basically just say like this stops now. We're gonna be getting stuff for ourselves now.
Mm-hmm.
That you would follow the guy. That would immediately give you loyal for someone to just turn up and say what you've been silently thinking to yourself for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, that's really damn good. So Raziel demanded that his legion be renamed in his own image. So he initially wanted them to be called the Sons of Mystery.
Yeah, but because the Vystrian is a very difficult language, as are many fucking sessions with the Lovecraft generator.
We've been sitting planning the language and writing things down, and people have think we've been trying to summon a demon in voice chat. We're trying to summon Cthulhu.
Yeah, and that's basically if you try to summon Cthulhu and all you do is summon some fucking Vapelord for another universe.
Yeah, so because the initial they were called the Sons of the Mist.
Sons of the Mystery, Sons of Mystery, and that worked. But due to Vystrian, of course, being a complicated language, there was an error translating to Imperial Gothic, which became Sons of the Mist with a Y. And then he hated the error. He hated that because, god damn it, he wanted mystery. But
his legion liked it.
His legion liked it. Raziel did not, and eventually they just refined it to Sons of the Mist with an I, and that stuck. Basically, that was their Gothic name.
Raziel liked that as well because it although it wasn't what he wanted, it was mist, and that's something that he liked.
Mm-hmm. He missed the mist.
So how did the Legion change then? How itself did the Legion change? I know Raziel made a few reforms, and he fired a few people when he got involved.
Oh yeah, we haven't got into that, I think, too much.
We know that there was like some opposition to how Raziel was doing things when things changed, and that was when he basically like dispatched the Equerries, or not the Equerries, the ambassadors.
There was some
emissaries. That was the word that I was looking for.
Emissaries, yeah. There were some who did doubt him. One of them was, of course, Kajika, aka that cunt, which we obviously need to work on.
He was the Black Hand, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the black. No. He was the Black End.
Black End. All right, okay.
Yeah. He is a loyalist during the Hyzo Heresy.
So, when Raziel realized that some of his higher ranking officers, these were Terran Astartes, were opposed to his the way that he was doing things. He basically told them to fuck off. He assigned them all to emissarial positions within other legions. So Kajika and his Blackened chapter was sent to the 17th Legion to be Equerries for the Sons of the Mist in their legion, and a lot of other loyalist elements were just sent to legions where he just thought they wouldn't be a problem. That was their punishment, basically.
Basically, relive the old Legion shame of trying to become something they weren't.
Absolutely. Which there's no worse punishment than that, I would honestly say. So we have the Legion. The Legion was organized a little bit differently as well. Raziel started using, started developing the Legion's psychic mastery a lot more as well.
Psykers became a far more integrated element. While they were they're recruited, but they're not focused upon. They basically became the fucking thing, you know.
And they were an integral element of it, definitely.
Like, to put it in perspective, I would probably say that if Solgrim wasn't here, not Solgrim, yeah, Solgrim actually wasn't here as the Psyker Legion, where the Sons of the Mist would have taken up that mantle. I would say.
But they weren't like standard librarians, were they?
No, God, yeah. I still need to make that one fucking thing. You know, those two fucking things. You know what I'm talking about.
The librarians of the Fifth Legion, they were the Mist Shapers.
I was about to say, you stole my line.
Stole it.
You fucking stole it like Raziel steals relics.
So talk me through the Mist Shapers.
They are the main librarians branch, and they are fucking like mysterious as shit, bro.
Trained exclusively on Levistra.
They are. They are the special boys. They are Raziel, one among Raziel's favored, because they are a part of him in a way. Because they, oh fuck you, god damn it. They are part of him, I would say, because they're using stuff from his homeworld. And one of the ways they actually use the stuff from this homeworld is a relic, which is a part of their trials to becoming a full-fledged librarian, right? So to get a relic, which can be anything, and Phantom, you know, I mean everything, anything.
We're not bringing that up here.
We are fucking bringing it.
We're not bringing it up here.
I'm finding a way.
The Mist Shapers are they're supposed to in ways that they differ from standard librarians is that they can manipulate the mists.
Yeah, but to do so they need a relic, which they get from Nephastus, and this is part of the trial. They go into Nephastus, retrieve a relic, which is something of like importance of high emotional value. So a teddy bear, a toothbrush, a fucking baby toy, anything that has a high emotional value. And
normally they're found in things like tomes, books, skulls, bones, daggers, just things that have held like a high emotional kind of like connection to beings that were living when the Nephastus was a thing. So for example, like a dagger that has slaughtered a number of people, and you can feel like the fear and the pain on the dagger. That's something that would have a high emotional connection.
Or a teddy bear of a little girl who fucking witnessed every horror before she went.
It's yeah. So I hate you. I
got it in.
So the Mist Shapers not only can manipulate the mists of Levistra, they can also call upon the relics that they take from the Nephastus to summon their own ethereal mists when on worlds that are not Levistra. So by doing
that's how they got to it. Yeah, that's how they got it, basically.
So by doing that, they can, I think a large number of Mist Shapers can just cover an entire battlefield in mist.
There is like a specific term for it.
Engulf? No?
No. No, I meant the relics. They are something. I forgot. There's a word for it. But I'll figure out the word because I need to go to that.
We'll get there.
Yeah, let's talk a bit more. Then I gotta go take a piss.
Okay, I'll tell you what then. If I talk about Raziel's relic hunts, and then we can cover Thorn when you get back.
All right, we're going to talk about the big boy of Thorn. Oh boy,
go for it.
All right, I will be gone. I will be on really quickly. All right, see you.
So, when the Legion had changed, Raziel decided that there was a much more of an importance to be placed on the discovery of ancient knowledge. And when the Fifth Legion ventured to the stars once again, one of their primary focuses obviously was Imperial compliance and just bringing worlds into compliance. But at the same time, Raziel would also have secondary, like hidden objectives that his legion would be filling out if they were taking specific worlds that had ruins and ancient cities, tombs. Elements of his legion would delve into those and recover artifacts and relics of significant importance. Raziel was very much kind of like a studier of such knowledge, such artifacts, and the reliquaries on his flagship, and also the reliquaries on the Black Archives on Levistra. They were filled with just all of these things that had been gathered by his legion. I believe he also had, if I check the 5th Legion chat, Raziel had the Black Watchers as his bodyguard that also served as protectors for the Black Archives upon Levistra. Basically, like beings that were clad in Tartarus plate, power halberds. They were silent, and they would protect the Dark Librarium, the Black Archives, with their lives. He had, I think, Raziel had an inner circle as well. Had an inner circle who he would task with completing specific objectives, going out into space and just gathering artifacts if he was not able to, doing all of those different things. So let's. But there were a number of different things that he did during the Great Crusade. While the Ninth were in the background doing other specific things, Raziel himself also was doing things in the background as well. While the Ninth were just covertly assimilating assets of specific importance, the Fifth was just completely just stealing stuff. Maybe even from other legions as well.
Zeph is typing.
Zeph is typing.
He is typing. All right, what were you on?
I've talked about your relic hunts, and I've also delved a little bit into the Black Watchers and the Dark Librarium.
Ooh, those things.
So I've talked about the Dark Librarium.
I wouldn't go too much into them because those are going to be a work in progress.
Okay. Okie dokie. So let's go. Let's.
Hour earlier than usual.
It's no. Don't pay any attention to him. Let's talk Thorn.
All right, the Thorny boy. Oh.
So even though Raziel was... Whoa, good lord, that's loud. Ow. Max, are you alive?
I am alive.
Oh god. Okay, that's much better. So, I don't know, you might just, like, start screaming at me. So, while Raziel was definitely away from Levistra, he wasn't completely alone.
Yeah, we have boy.
There was a voice in his head.
And at first, we don't know really when Thorn came about. So he might have came about. He might have been the voice all along, or he might have just latched on during one of Raziel's trips into purgatory. Basic Nephastus. I'm sorry. What's the difference, really? Oh, right. There are none. Yeah. Fans is just like, oh god, I'm working with this fucker. But yeah, we don't know when Thorn truly came. All we know, he's there. And Thorn is a big influence upon Raziel's life. Because it's like, do you know that voice in the back of your head? The voice that tells you, no, don't do this, don't do that. Your consciousness. Thorn basically became Raziel's quote-unquote consciousness.
Or conscience.
Conscious.
Conscience.
And Raziel didn't like it, of course, aka why it's called Thorn. Because Raziel didn't know its true name, which it did have one, which we're going to reveal in a moment.
Many of the times that Thorn would just kind of like ruin things for him.
Like, one of the notable things, which I definitely want to keep over from the RP, so I'm going to fucking mention it, is his and Leon's friendship. Thorn fucked that over, bent it down, and went, no. What was it called, Leon still?
Yeah, he's still called Leon. But
right.
a lot of Raziel's efforts to establish bonds with his brothers and the legions, Thorn would just continue to prey on his paranoia and also on like his kind of like just suspicion of everyone else, just continually like just forcing him to mess up. Yeah, he messed up a lot of his bonds with the other legions, and through really no fault of his own.
No. There was fault of his own, mind you. Raziel didn't help a lot because he wasn't very social. He wasn't a social Primarch.
By the end of the Great Crusade, the Fifth Legion and Raziel themselves were just kind of like viewed mostly as outcasts.
Like if you see, if there was like a gathering of Primarchs, right? Raziel would be that creepy guy standing in the corner watching everyone.
Yeah, I mean, even Jaraxxus was better received than Raziel was.
And this is fault of Thorn. This is fault of Raziel. Because if Thorn wasn't there, he would probably been better. But I mean, you're not going to get rid of Thorn.
Raziel, his mind had already been weakened a little bit just by being in the Nefastus for so long. So for Thorn to just kind of like hop on in there and start messing him around, it wasn't particularly difficult. But
Raziel needed lots of fucking love and care from his family, and he probably, which if he did have, and I will mention this right now while we're getting into that corruption, if he had it, he wouldn't be the arch traitor.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I want to point out.
No, absolutely. But Thorn wasn't just a voice in his head that was determined to get Raziel outcast. This being actually had a goal and an intention. And I'll do it. I'm good.
No, I want to do it.
I'll give you the name. I'll give you the name drop, but I'm gonna big it up.
All right.
Is that cool? We'll go 50-50. We'll go halfsies.
Fine.
So.
Traitor.
This traitor. This being longed for Raziel to become the most powerful being in the galaxy, so that finally he could serve as his vessel. Yeah. So it had continued to twist Raziel's mind, just assuring him that like all of the teachings that he gave to him, all of the choices that he has forced him to do, pointed to him like ascending to the true leader of the Imperium. Although Raziel like respected the Primarchs, the Emperor's visions for the Imperium, he thought he could probably do a better job by changing some specific things that the Emperor had made like a blind eye to. So Thorn just continued to prey on this insecurity and was like, well, what if you were the Emperor? What if you ruled the Imperium?
Well, what if you pokey? Obviously more subtle than that, but we're not Black
Library.
Yeah,
just continuing to poke and pry at him to just like twist him to that name.
This definitely didn't help him at all, as we keep mentioning. He sometimes, because the voice became too loud or something like that. Obviously, I'm not good at insanity. I need to work on that. But sometimes he would just shout out, and he would be like very twitchy. He seemed very neurotic, and especially in the later stages, where it was basically, oh god, oh fuck, he's not. But right by that point, Raziel was already insane.
But so eventually Thorn's plan was to get Raziel to become to basically take all of the other big players' places in the Imperium, and only then he would be able to control him, possess him, and let his name be shouted from like the rooftops all across the galaxy.
Do we want to shout the name right now?
Do we want to shout? No, let's leave it. Let's move it back later. Let's move it back later.
Hello, Voth. Welcome to the chat.
Oh. So, as the Great Crusade continued and came to its end, Raziel...
For an hour.
Yeah, we're getting there. Raziel had continued to kind of like... It started putting this play into motion, and the first like major move that he made where the dominoes all started falling together was during the Hive Wars.
Oh boy, the Hive Wars!
So the Hive Wars, the Hive Wars. I think we've talked about during like a bunch of other podcasts as well. Was where this AU's first kind of like experience with the Tyranids. Was when the Imperium had to push them out of one of the edges of the galaxy that they had invaded, and it was during the end of the Hive Wars. That the Primarch Belia and the Ninth Legion were making a desperate withdrawal from a planet that was rapidly falling to the touch of the Tyranids, with the Emperor's flagship, the Unification, and the First Legion also in orbit providing support, but also being overrun by Tyranid vessels. With the what's the thing that the Nids do? The shadow and the warp. The Shadow and the Warp. That's the thing.
Yes, yeah.
It eluded me for a second. So the Shadow of the Warp was also being cast. It was very difficult for any kind of psychic communications to be going on. But seeing his chance for a...
Oh, he did a bad thing. He did a very
bad thing.
He needs to get spanked. But Celestia's not here, so he doesn't get spanked.
Elements of the 5th Legion that had been embedded within the 9th sent a fake message to the Emperor's flagship, the Unification, saying that,
which has changed from canon,
saying that Belia Delvinus was on board and on her way back up to the fleet. The Emperor, with his psychic abilities slightly diminished by the Tyranids, took the message for its worth because he was unable to accurately pinpoint where the Primarch was, and so with Belia Delvinus still on the planet, the Unification fired and opened up all of its orbital ordnance.
Finally, vengeance for the Great Crusade and all that stupid shit has been taken. Fuck yeah! I don't fucking. Oh, that would have been so.
But that wasn't even the main objective of Raziel though. Like Belia's death didn't actually killing Belia was just a means to an end.
Oh yeah, this and me didn't enjoy it.
But the reason that Belia was killed was so that Raziel could get close to Hyzo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, move out of the way, bitch. This is my seat now.
So with Hyzo kind of like reeling over the death of his sister, and also just feeling slightly unsure of the Emperor's true intentions.
Oh fuck! Putis pinging me.
As he just like basically nuked his own daughter. Raziel just kind of like started planting the seeds of doubt in Hyzo's mind, and also in some of the other Primarchs' minds after that event. And several years following the events of the Hive Wars, Raziel ventured with the trusted few in his legion into Segmentum Obscurus, and ventured within what would become known as the Eye of Terror.
Oh boy, yeah. He is the Logar, and I think if you know Logar's story, you can kind of tell the similar one Raziel took. There are similarities.
There was a journey of discovery for him, definitely, but a lot of this is kind of being a lot of this is being fed to him through Thorn. It's almost at this. It's
Thorn
almost
is
at
a
this
guide.
point. It's almost at this point like they're kind of like business partners now, because Raziel is on board with the idea of becoming
Right.
this
Yeah.
all powerful, and Thorn is like, yeah, no, you do you, man. I'll definitely help you out.
He's that supportive mom trying to pressure
Yeah.
the kids into doing something.
So Raziel held council with the Chaos Gods within the Eye of Terror.
Or at least their representatives.
Well, yeah, they're representatives, and so in
On-
exchange for their gifts and their blessings bestowed upon those who chose to follow him, Raziel would give them their avatar of chaos. He would present them with Hyzo.
What is this entire AU named after?
The Hyzen Heresy. So Hyzo was to become he was supposed to become the War Master and the Avatar of Chaos. So as Ullanor happened, Raziel returned from his travels, and he started setting the heresy in motion. Also, while he was in the warp, turns out Belia was still alive and was a demon Primarch of Tzeentch. Because Belia had no idea that Raziel had been involved with her death, she was like, "Oh, Raziel, it's so nice to see a familiar face." And Raziel's like, "Oh yes, hey bitch, let's go plunge the Imperium into chaos." So the two of them returned, Belia on the down low, but Raziel just kind of on the high low. And he started putting everything in the climate that had been caused at Ullanor, and the Emperor's kind of like retreat into the Imperial Palace had just done things perfectly.
I'm about to get into an internet argument over fucking Eye of Terror.
Are we really?
Yeah, but it's not important. It's fucking what were you on? Sorry, I'm being.
It's fine. God, where was I? So the climate that had been created during the victory at Ullanor, it was working perfectly for the Raziel's advantage. Raziel was like properly in his element now.
He was being a shitlord. Just dabbing, fucking juuling on everybody.
So as Raziel had started becoming closer with Aes Faranis of the 14th Legion and Visar Tyrell of the 7th Legion, was it the 7th or was it the 8th? 8th. Of the 8th Legion, he had also become aware that they were performing some extracurricular activities on Barbarous and on Aes's homeworld of Thormorius. So he just up and grassed on them. Leaked the information to the agents of the Sigillite, and the Emperor, who was rather upset that he had to leave the Imperial Palace and not work on his webway for a bit, just stormed out, took a fleet of Imperial warships, and raised the surface of Barbarous, which put Visar in a very bad mood. And then when he went to Thormorius to confront Aes, he found that Aes was slowly working on rediscovering AI. So he raised the surface of Thormorius as well.
Raziel's a shitlord.
Raziel just fucked the both of them over, but none of them knew that it was Raziel that had done it.
Oh yeah, Raziel is like he's the scheming shitlord of the heresy. Of the heresy.
It was not going very well. So when Raziel basically just took this perfectly to his advantage, so he managed to fully sway Hyzo over to his side now. Like, well, the Emperor's a bit of a douche. He blew up Belia.
Raziel basically becomes
he fucked over Visar. He fucked over Aes. Like, what's going on? This is terrible. Oh yeah, by the way, here's your dead sister. She's been brought back to life by.
Hyzo, it's time for your nightly dick flattening. Yes, Raziel.
Yes, Raziel. So Hyzo was fully swayed over. Aes, basically, like after he'd had all of his research set on fire, he was on board, and Raziel. Am I right, guys? Yeah, and Raziel gifted Raziel gifted Ace with a suit of like reliquary power armor that he'd managed to like scavenge together from all this different, because that was one of the things that he'd managed to find when he was delving through all this technology and stuff.
Really, really old lore, and we probably need to rework it because originally it was Bat busted out Mark IV.
I think like what we the gist of it is that Raziel had managed to kind of like cobble together a suit of power armor that was pretty damn good. But then he gifted it to.
Actually, if you guys are watching the stream, kind of the power armor you see right now.
Yeah.
On the stream, and as you can see the markings and shit, those are technically, I would say the little marks on the shoulder pads are Levistrian runes more than the little symbols you see. But yeah.
So. Yeah, the Levistrian power armor was probably one of the it was one of the ones that Ace had gifted to him by Raziel, and eventually it was kind of like refined and mass produced as the Mark IV, and Hyzo saw to it that the legions who were down for his little secession were given it first.
Down with the sickness, you could say.
Yeah, down with the sickness. So Hyzo just started kind of like Hyzo was gathering kind of like buddies for his secession, so he managed to secure Conan, and there were a few others who were on the fence. Raziel kind of saw this being not really what he wanted, because there wouldn't be war if the secession gained too much support. It would just be that the emperor would be dethroned with a very little loss of life. He had to do something quickly. So he basically just went over to Ace Varanus on Thermorius, who's kind of like starting to lose his mind. It's like, hey, you know what'd be really cool? If you just randomly declared war out of nowhere and fucked everything up. Also, you don't remember this conversation, do you, Ace? And Ace is like, who the fuck are you? I'm going to declare war against the Imperium.
Oh, okay. So I know Johnny worked. Should we call him Johnny? Johnny, yeah.
Johnny.
Okay, Johnny. Yeah, I know A's. I haven't really read up too much on A's and shit. Oh, yeah, because there's not a lot on A's.
There isn't a lot on A's. Even he doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, bro.
So then through some other means, the heresy does get kicked off. And Raziel, while all this is happening, Raziel just kind of like works to stoke the fire.
Yeah, he creates the Ruinstorm.
Yep.
We need to work on that.
But one of the key things he's involved in is that he manages to capture the Primarch of the Third Legion, Zilthia.
Oh yes.
And then I think he tortures her for a bit, implants her with butcher's nails, and then during the Siege of Terra just drops her on Terra like a roided up weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, he releases her a few times before that as well as a weapon of mass destruction. But yeah, he basically just butchers the butcher's nails operation, because he doesn't care about if she lives or dies. Basically it's like Angron, but like an accelerated race during the entirety of the heresy. Because like he doesn't care if she lives or not. By the end of it, he just wants a weapon.
Yes,
and he sets loose.
So Raziel and the Sons of the Mist were involved. One of the legions who were directly involved in the Siege of Terra. They were there. Raziel and his bodyguard were part of the vanguard force that assaulted the Imperial Palace, along with Hyzo of the Honor Bound and Varkas of the Outriders. And I think everything went really well. Hyzo, Raziel, and Varkas just completely took apart the companions. Leon tried to stop them, so Raziel just got like Zilthia dropped on him, and that kept him busy.
You got a problem during the Siege of Terra? Just drop a Zilthia.
Drop a Zilthia. Yours for only $9.99.
Yes. Yes, old chap.
So the three Primarchs were able to eventually overpower and kill the Emperor. And it was at that point that Heizo declared that he was going
Hang
to be
on,
the
man.
one. Whoa.
Yeah. Hello, another TV viewer. Welcome to the stream, buddy pal.
What?
He's a buddy pal. Wait, fuck. Oh god, I just gendered him. Oh god, I did it again.
You need to calm down. Be calm.
I can't. I gotta go, man. I fuck no. All right, but yeah, welcome to the stream, pal. Welcome.
We don't greet everyone who turns up. They know their place.
No, I do it. Well,
Oh,
you
okay.
guys don't. I fucking do.
Okay.
You shut your mouth, you slut.
So, Heizo has killed the Emperor. The Emperor is
Yep.
dead.
The Emperor is a big F.
And Heizo
Chat.
declares that he'll be the ruler of the Imperium. Except that he never really kind of gets the chance for that. He just kind of gets
Because Raziel just
F'd.
fucking like F. He gets the F too.
yeah.
Because Raziel fucking stabs him with, and you would think a champion of the power of the Chaos Gods and shit wouldn't be able to get killed by Raziel, and yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Raziel wasn't
for
wielding
any like champion of the dark powers, it's a little bit difficult when like you've basically been taking on the Emperor, but also at the same time, if your head is removed from its shoulders, it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah, but Raziel is helped by we're gonna fucking reveal it by the being who helped him, who was Thorn. Because Raziel finally, he has an epiphany while Heizo is like basking in glory.
He does
And
that.
during the epiphany, yeah, right. Heizo has an epiphany. He realizes his true purpose in life, and then Thorn makes a move and tries to possess Raziel. Gets bitch slapped by something else, which Raziel has been helping this entire time, trying to come back without knowing. Thorn thinks, "Oh look, I'm tricking Raziel," but Thorn was being tricked by something else.
Thorn has been Dracnian the entire time.
Yes. Oh yeah. Bitch, that was supposed to be my line.
You were taking too long.
Fuck, I was going for Malal first. Which,
Oh
yes.
no, we should have done. No, it should have been Dracnian then Malal.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah.
we've name dropped them both now. So I suppose we're just gonna have to work on that.
Thorn was Dracnian. Dracnian is like, oh, I got this fucking
Avatar.
Raziel.
I've got this amazingly powerful being who is going to become my vessel, and now I can just become the ultimate avatar of death. And
and then that's fucking like canceled like everyone's plans during 2020.
there's a lot of betrayal going on at that point. Like,
Yeah.
the Emperor gets
Yes.
betrayed by Heizo. Heizo gets betrayed immediately by Raziel. Raziel immediately gets betrayed by Dracnian.
I would say it takes a moment because Raziel has this epiphany and shit.
Yeah, but it's pretty much immediately. But then
Yeah.
also like immediately after Dracnian is attempting to take Raziel, a being who has
Wait a
been
minute,
slowly
Voice chat in the fucking chat. Zeph.
what?
Oh
He's-
my god.
Oh, very Raziel. So Raziel.
Oh, Ricky Cypress, welcome to the chat.
So Raziel, his actions inadvertently, and the heresy by definition, has been slowly bringing another being into existence.
Mhm.
There have been kind of like the Runestorm was just the beginning, but like there are warp rifts and like galactic contractions like across the entire kind of like galaxy. But the final kind of like the nail in the coffin, the climax of it all
And
is
it's less that it's on the scale and more the significance because the warp really likes significant shit.
yeah.
And with Raziel lopping off Heizo's head,
And also-
is born.
Malal
Malal
finally
is fucking-
comes into being.
He's like,
And
oh, Raziel fucking ascends.
and he immediately like just claims Raziel is is just happy to have someone looking out for him. He's like, no, dude, I'm for it. Let's do it.
Dude, I'm fucking ready, bro. You're my Malal. You're my only friend.
So Malal starts like Raziel's ascension. I think like I don't even know what happens to Varkas. Like he gets thrown across the room and he's just kind of forced to watch as Hyzo dies.
Watching Hyzo fucking. Well, we could have it so that Raziel smacks the shit out of him.
I think that's what we've got so far. Like he just gets he gets bound by warpy powers and it's just kind of forced to watch.
No, I was thinking like Raziel just slaps him aside, and while Varkas is recovering, Hyzo gets his head lopped off.
Yeah, it could work.
Yeah.
But what eventually stops this process is Leon turning up on the scene as Raziel is ascending.
Leon. Yeah, Raziel wins that duel, and Zilthia just comes. Wait, no.
Leon wins the duel against Zilthia. Leon wins the duel against Zilthia, and through some not fully explained means, the sword that he is carrying that he killed Zilthia is able to deal damage to Raziel as he's ascending. So Leon is able to essentially just with his kind of like last ounce of energy, because it's a miracle the dude is alive at that point, is able to cast Raziel into the warp. Not so banishing him from Terra, but not actually like dealing any significant damage to him. Just beats him within an inch of his life and throws him into the warp.
And Leon's a big damn hero.
And Leon is a hero, and he has his moment.
You screwed up the delivery. How Raziel?
I know. But eventually it comes out that from some means or another to the Ninth Legion that the Fifth were involved in Belia's death. So Belia and the Obsidian Spectres declare kind of like that the Fifth are to be exterminated. Varkas manages to.
Legion is really pissed at Raziel and his Legion.
I think everyone's just kind of pissed at Raziel. The Legion itself is just forced to flee.
And they're all cackling like fucking madmen.
Varkas gets back to the traitors like, "Hey guys, Raziel just betrayed everybody," and all the traitor Primarchs are just like, "What?"
Everyone is fucking dying.
And that's pretty much where the Fifth story ends for now. They disappear into the dark spaces in the galaxy, and nobody really knows what becomes of them. But as the years go by, as the millennia come by, the Fifth Legion are seen kind of like as just heralds of death. Whenever there is a big war happening, whenever there is a pivotal battle happening,
whenever one side gets too much of a victory, shit! Here comes the Mist Lords.
Yeah, their true intentions are not fully understood. Their numbers are not known. Like everything is just a complete mystery with them.
A lot of shit vague.
Yeah,
we got to do it well too. But...
They are just a completely unknown element. But what we do know is that everybody in the galaxy just wants them dead. The loyalists want them dead. The traitors want them dead. The Xenos just probably want them dead. The Orcs want everyone dead, so it's not really.
No, the Orcs just want to fight.
They
like, bro, you just want to fight. You just want to slay, bro. Slay, queen, slay, yes.
So how much? Oh, hello. He left the voice chat. Get him back in here. You doing moving?
Yeah, I fucked up. I was trying to click Vox.
You switched into the different channel.
Yes.
So we got the heresy sorted. We have Raziel. So what becomes of what changes occur to the Fifth after Malal takes the Legion? How do they change aesthetically? I know we had little bits.
Bitch, shut. Let me explain.
Okay.
I got this. Beam me up, boys. Yeah. In universe, no one truly knows. All they know is that every legionary is always shrouded. Always. There's always mist leaking out. They never see the layers of their armor anymore, like in the olden days. So they don't even know their fucking colors. They just see a black shroud among a gray fog of mist, basically. And it's supposed to be like that. Like sometimes you see shapes, sometimes they're like more alien, and like they're less marine and more fucking demon. But you never truly know, and never know what's behind that shroud, and maybe you don't want to know, right?
What about the voices?
Ooh. Oh yeah, every voice is like 1,000 voices speaking it as trying to speak as one. Each
So
voice.
every voice is a chorus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really like the voices, don't you?
I do like the voices. It's one of my favorite bits of it. So I think we've come to a close on the Legion itself. Like I'll
Now we
just
have a
go.
Q&A.
Let's go quickly. So what changes? How did you develop the fifth then?
Other hand, let me type something so we might have another viewer.
Oh boy, we got 3 today. We're doing well.
Yeah, obviously, because Best Boy is here, we're doing the best. All right, but yes, how did I come to develop the fifth?
Yes.
I was really edgy at the time, and I was still in high school. That's probably why. Um, and I was getting this was like my very first fucking Legion, and it shows. But I really wanted to try something with uh with Lovecraft as an inspiration, and I didn't do well at first. It took this AU project to make the Fifth Legion shine.
It's taken actions from all of us to try and
Fucking wrangle me and go,
yeah
Matt, work on your shit.
yeah it's taken a bit, but to be truthful, I think it's worked out for the better. You've had the majority of us have just tried to work with you to make it a good Legion, and it is a strong Legion. Their origin, their backstory is very much interesting.
What we have worked on, I think, is definitely an improvement from what I made 2 years ago.
Yes, and with more with more work on it, I am fairly confident they can be like a fan favorite. Very fairly confident. Like I don't really think that that Raziel has changed much from when we had it in the RP, because he's still the same character.
He's the same character, but he absolutely has undergone changes.
Yes.
I would say he's not the same, but he hasn't changed much.
There's definitely been changes to his character, like in a small way, just to try and explain other items better, explain other elements of it better.
Primarchs, I think, to actually keep his name, basically.
Raziel himself was it was always a name that I particularly kind of liked, but I also liked the idea of. I'm glad that we were able to change the fifth's style of combat as well, so that it was different from the ninth, because the ninth we took to it and we've made them like very much Alpha Legion.
Yeah, because like at the beginning of it, because of restrictions in the RP, I had to make a covert Legion, which clearly I think the fifth weren't not really a covert Legion.
But you changed it to a style that I think works a lot better for them. So the main difference that I think between the ninth and the ninth strike from the shadows.
The Ninth would like sneak from the shadows and stab you in the fucking back. The Fifth Legion want to know they're here, want you to know they're there, and your time is limited.
Yeah, but the Ninth will strike from the shadows. The Fifth create the shadows.
I am the shadow.
They really don't care about hiding. They will just. It's more it's definitely sensory deprivation that they are specialized in.
If I think they would have made a great Terror Psychic Legion if I had to choose about them.
And there are aspects of that could be very well used.
Yeah, I remember in another AU I tried
but
to
but the Fifth that they're very much like I think like decapitating actions. They'll strike at leadership, and they use that to do it.
Yeah, and then they fuck with the people.
Yeah. No, I think have we got anything else ready that we want to just kind of mention?
Well, we could ask the Twitch chat if they want to ask something.
Do we have any questions from the chat?
Yeah, because there's actually people here.
We do have people here. Is anybody got any? I know I'm watching. How many people? Well, other than us two, then how many people have we? One other person. We're doing great.
We love you, Twitch chat. And
we'll give it a minute.
To a question. And
does Raziel feel any regret?
I would say no, not anymore. No, definitely not. Definitely when he was starting to get into it, when Belaya was killed.
Is he aware that to Draknian especially that he was just a tool in his schemes?
I would think so. He would know, and then Raziel, and it make him more accepting of Malal, because Malal, seemingly on the surface, doesn't want to manipulate Raziel.
Malal in this AU. He is more of just kind of like a force.
Yeah, and it's like Malal just like Raziel do this, and Malal is very.
He just wants to create anarchy, which is great. But I think
no, go.
Raziel, I would feel does feel regret to a certain amount.
No, not after he ascended. No, that like maybe before that, but once he killed Hyzil and ascended, that was gone. Then the Raziel that wanted to connect with his siblings, that wanted to become a better person, died when he became a demon prince.
That's fair.
Now he fucking loves his job, bro.
Oh, and also I think he is fully aware that he was manipulated by Draknian, and he has like every opportunity to remind Draknian of it.
He's Draknian. I think because of Malal is now trapped as a fucking sword. And
Malal pimp slaps him.
Yeah.
And binds him to the sword.
Yeah. And Raziel carries that around. It's like, haha, you little shit.
It's kind of like what Mortarion did with his father's soul.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeps the soul in a little lantern and fucks with it every so often. But instead of that, Draknian just becomes Draknian becomes Raziel's sword. Mm-hmm. Or I'm not even sure if it is a sword.
Whatever the fuck Raziel wants it to be. So if he wants a fucking spear, he gets a spear. If it's a sword,
I would say Draknian is used as his staff.
You could definitely say that Draknian, which is Raziel's weapon, is always in constant anarchy on what it wants to be.
Maybe. It would also be a really big middle finger to Draknian if Raziel used Dracnian as a form that didn't like spill blood or anything, just used him as kind of like a staff or something like that. Because like
Yeah.
that would just be torment to a creature that just craves death.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're discussing that right now, Vothric. He becomes a demon weapon for Aziel.
Mm.
Because he was pin slapped by Malal and becomes a demon weapon.
I think Raziel, like, although he will rely on Dracnian, just never truly forgets like how badly that creature, because it is quite, it's quite fitting really that for a being that wanted to control and possess the Primarch, that the Primarch is now in full control of him. And while if Dracnian was ever kind of like escaped from his binding, then that would be different. But
well, he's not.
With Malal as his patron, like hell no.
Malal will probably step in because Raziel is like Malal's fucking greatest anarchy maker. Like if it was like Abaddon, like an Abaddon equivalent, he probably wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But because it's Raziel, his first and I think only demon prince. Sorry.
Yeah.
We might that with like 40.
It's because like Malal is very newly awakened. He has a very niche following. So the fact that we have the fifth and we have the as their sole followers, it's very kind of like a niche following. In terms of Malal's demons,
we haven't thought that out because we have some ideas, but not a lot. Malal is something we do need
as with a lot of the stuff that we're working on for Malal and for the Fifth Legion, we wanted to keep his demons and also the nature of the Fifth Legion themselves like quite close to the chest, and only like what we want to do. And Max, I'm sure you're on the same boat. You're in the same boat as me. Is this? We want to have all of this information to ourselves. We want to have all of this information like just for us. We want to work it all out, have it very well documented, very well detailed, and then in all of the next kind of like the future works of writing that we bring out, we can reveal little tidbits of it.
Get off my ass and write a book about it. I might do some detail on some demons, for example.
We did have a really cool idea that there were like lesser demons of Malal that like their entire purpose is to just destroy themselves, because that embodies that embodies the anarchy very well. Like their entire the entire reason for their existence is to just destroy themselves and kill other beings.
Be a butter giver.
Yeah.
That's their God.
What is my purpose? You blow yourself up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we have things that we wanted to do, and there was a rather heavy debate over if we wanted to have Dracnian as a god that has his own like demon princes and greater demons and stuff, or if we just wanted him to be a force, and we leant more towards the former, as Dracnian is now probably one of the big shots in the warp.
Like he's not like he's definitely a big shot on the warp, but I wouldn't say he's like the most powerful being there.
No,
he was for a time, mind you, but then he became part of the great game.
Yeah, when the I think for the most part, like the Emperor starts growing in power after Dracnian. No, not after Dracnian. After Malal starts like waning. Malal basically, like when he's born, like all the other Chaos Gods are like, oh shit, no, this dude's a big deal.
Basically, he has like the shock of his birth to power him.
So when the
God for a moment.
Yeah, so when the
forever, we don't know in the word.
So when the Chaos Gods like decide that they're fighting Malal, there is a war in the warp for a bit, in which that the Yeah, during which the Dark Imperium is formed, and it's the reason that the Dark Imperium doesn't have as much like kind of chaosy blessing when they get first started. And then after Malal kind of like folds back into the Great Game and starts doing things his way, there is the Emperor starts like growing in power because he is now free to inhabit the warp as an entity, and he's also fueled by belief.
Is Dracnian on a similar power scale to Be'lakor? Dracnian, we have changed him a bit from canon, but I would say Dracnian is probably still as strong as he was in canon, aka he can fucking wound the Emperor, but that's probably because of the significance of what he is more than pure strength. I would definitely consider Dracnian more powerful than Be'lakor.
I would
just what Dracnian is, which is the core of the core reason why every human murders one another.
Yeah,
you know.
But we haven't touched upon Be'lakor.
Be'lakor is like
very. We haven't touched upon him very much. But there is definitely like Dracnian. We wanted to be. A lot of people we've said that Dracnian doesn't obey kind of like the same kind of like laws for his character in canon, and the argument that we kind of have for that is that he still wants the same thing. He's just willing to wait for it a little bit more this time.
And even then, I need to finish my reading of Master of Mankind, but from what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing anything of what they're saying.
It's a slight change, and again, it's an alternate universe, so that we do have the opportunity to do things differently. I think at some point we do need to touch up on Be'lakor because he hasn't seemed to have gotten like a lot of the spotlight.
Yeah, I don't even know.
He's the original undivided demon.
And if Dracnian is too much of a fucking problem for a lot of people,
he's basically like all four of the Chaos Gods, kind of like just.
No, I'm saying that if we had to get rid of Dracnian for some reason, we could always do Be'lakor instead.
I don't think that Be'lakor would be a good fit because he's. Be'lakor's the kind of dude who would just pick up a sword, go out there, and do it all himself. He wouldn't. He wouldn't do that kind of thing.
All right. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, there we go. I think
we're sorted. I think we are all done.
Yeah, we fucking did it.
So I think at some point it'll be 2 weeks time from now, we will see our next podcast. We're going to be either doing the Solar Wolves or we'll be doing the Obsidian Spectres, depending on which of us is ready. So it's either going to be Kiradus is going to be ready or I'm going to be ready. But we'll see what we're doing. We're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about you. We're not going to get involved.
This is my last scene, guys. I'm going to be some fucking guy on the news that's been gone missing.
That was the last we saw of Max. We never saw him. We never saw him again.
Yeah.
All right. No, but that's all. That's all good. Thank you for tuning in and watching.
Guys.
We will see you next time.
Thank you for listening.